Okay, so welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. Today I am delighted to announce my guest is Karen. Karen is a patient in the National Rehabilitation Hospital, the NRH, as you will hear us describe in the interview. She's attending a program called the RTU, the Rehabilitative Training Unit. This is a unit that works with adults that have had an acquired brain injury. Karen suffered traumatic brain injury a couple of years ago and was left with some significant deficits and injuries from her brain injury. And she's had a really, really difficult time. And she's going to share a story with us that's powerful and honest and funny. And she's a very insightful and open and honest, really decent human being. And I was delighted to have the opportunity to share this interview with her, so hopefully you will enjoy. Okay, Karen, very welcome to Magic Minds. It's great to have you on board.
Thanks.
Just want to get your story out there and let people have a listen to it, because I think it's fascinating.
Okay.
And it's funny. Right, so come here, look, start me off. Talk to me about your childhood growing up.
Well, I had a quite privileged childhood. We had a childminder that lived in with us. Because my mum and dad ran the Gettigan in Bagot Street.
All right, very good.
So we had a full-time childminder who lived in with us. We went away on holidays every year, which was quite kind of different back in the day. Like people go in Ireland or whatever. It's expensive to go to Ireland now than it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But back in the day, it was cheap enough. You just go and stay in a mobile or whatever. But we always went away on like big holidays. So
where'd you grow up?
Finglas.
Which part?
The posh part.
I didn't know there was a posh part of Finglas.
It's by the police station, up at the police station.
Very good. Privileged, though. Right?
Yeah, we were the big white Georgian houses. That's what people used to say. Oh, do you live in them white Georgian houses?
All right.
And I was like, what is a white Georgian house like? But anyway, yeah. So I loved the road that we grew up on. There was 32 houses and there was about 100 children. Right. And we all played together. And there was a little football pitch on the road, and all the dads used to play with the kids.
Jeez, you don't see that anymore, do you?
It was brilliant. And every Monday night, the whole road used to go swimming.
What?
The swimming bats were just across the road.
Swimming bats.
Yeah, and it was brilliant, the laugh we had. So, I really had a good childhood. Yeah, I loved it until... Obviously, then my ma left when I was 11, I think, and it started to go downhill from there, I suppose.
You moved out of Finglas then, did you?
Well, we ended up moving down to Finglas, or moving down to Wicklow, when years later, when my ma and dad got back together, and they moved back down to Wicklow. My dad's from Martineau.
Okay.
So, they moved down, bought a pub down there, and then I used to go down and work the odd weekend and stuff. And at my ma's 40th birthday, she was begging me to, move down with her or whatever, and me drunken state or whatever, told her that I'd move down for her birthday present. So she was delighted with that.
Was your dad still up in Finglas?
No, they were both living in...
But you were still staying
I
up there?
was keeping the home fires burning, party in the house every weekend.
Brilliant.
My man and dad got a phone call one night, actually, down to Wicklow, to tell, because the neighbour had been banging down the door to tell me to turn off the noise.
Right.
Never even heard it. My dad travelled all the way up from Wicklow and arrived into the house.
And the place was kicking.
Oh, jeez. I was thrown out that night. So, yeah, anyway, I moved down to Wicklow, and then, lo and behold, a few days later, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, right.
So I was like, okay, well, it's a good job, to move down to Wicklow. And then the fella that I was pregnant for, he moved down with me as well, and he didn't last. He only lasted a few months, and then we ended up splitting up. And so yeah, I've stayed down there ever since. It's a great old place to bring up kids.
Yeah, many kids have you got now? Two kids.
Yeah. So Jude is 19 and Lucy is 16 going on 17. So I started going out with Alan when Jude was 10 months old.
Right.
So she actually thought that he was her father until she was about maybe 12 or 13. Before she was going into secondary school, I decided, okay, it's best to tell her now because I don't want it coming out another way. It'd be more damaging. And so I remember telling her, and what she actually said was, "Fuck off, you liar." And I was like, "No, I'm serious." And she boxed me across the face.
Oh, Janie.
Yeah. But literally, she was absolutely fine within 24 hours. She was absolutely grand. She's like, well, sure, he's reared me. I don't know any different. So,
very good.
So it's all been good, like, ever since, you know, she's just absolutely fine with it, thank God.
When did you meet Alan?
Actually, Alan was going out with my cousin.
Oh, right.
And I came down, well, I was living down here, and I went to, actually it was before I was living down here, I went to her 21st, and he was there, and we were back at the house party then after, and I wasn't pregnant at this stage. Well, I probably was, but didn't realise I was. I found out I was pregnant about a month later. But I was trying to get a taxi home, and living in Wicklow, like back in the day, like this was like a strange place to me. There was no, like, the shops used to close at lunchtime. They used to close on a Tuesday.
Siesta, was it?
You couldn't get a taxi after fucking 1 o'clock or something. It was absolutely mental.
Coming from Finglas
to my God, it was
Wicklow.
Crazy. So I was frantic trying to get a taxi, and I remember him saying to me, the first thing he ever said to me was, "You're not going to get a taxi at this time." And he tried to kiss me, and I pushed him away, and I was like, "You absolute scumbag, you're going out with my cousin," like.
Right.
So I didn't have very high opinion of him from the off. But then, like, about 2 or 3 months later, I met him again, and I kind of liked him a bit, but like I wouldn't because he was going out with my cousin. But then I started going out with somebody else, and he was an alcoholic, the person I was going out with, and he'd pissed all over my couch. And I had them in the wash, and I remember it was the day before Jude's christening, and I was trying to put the cushions back into the pillow or into the case, and Alan arrived up looking for your man that I was going out with, and I brought him in, and he knew as soon as he seen it, he goes, "Oh, did he piss on the couch?" Like, and I was just like, "I actually can't cope. I can't put them back in," and blah blah blah. So he put them back in, and that sealed the deal. I was in love with him then. So I was just like, "Oh, he's lovely." And then I ended up doing the dirt on your man, the alco, with Alan.
Jesus.
And
hopefully not on the couch.
Literally, Jesus no. And literally, from the first night I was with Alan, he moved in with me.
Oh, right.
Like, it was literally overnight. There was no courtship, like, or dating or anything.
Straight
it was just straight in there, full time, like. But we were always on and off. Literally a false relationship. one week on, 1 week off, for years. And then we broke up properly, and he moved to England. And it was only when my cat died. I had a beautiful Persian cat, and one of the dogs killed it. And It was the most horrific, honestly, it was the most horrific experience I've ever been through. I literally seen the light going from the cat's eyes, from life to death. It was. You were looking out the window at it? No, I was actually I was trying to get the dog off the cat. Whoa. And I was like screaming, leave her alone. Like, I was seeing her being shredded, like, because it was a hunting dog, like, it was, honestly, it was horrific. So, the kids I ended up going to Dunn Stores with the kids, and Jude says to me, "Oh, Mum, feel this blanket, it's real soft, it's gorgeous." And I went over and felt it, and I collapsed on the ground because I'm screaming, crying. I was like, "It just feels like Kitty." And she was like, sorry. She was straight on the phone to Alan, and she's like, "Dad, get home, Mum's freaking fucking out, she's losing it." And he came back, and then we got back together straight away. So the cat didn't die in vain, God love her. Oh, jeez. And then pretty much then that was in April, and then we went away on a family holiday in August, which was our first family holiday in a few years. So that was really nice. And we hadn't had a crossword ever since we got back together. Wow, brilliant. And that was very, very unusual for us, because I'm very, very highly strung. No way. I was, even pre-injury, I was highly strung. And then that was in the August, and then in the October I had my accident. When did you have your accident? Talk to me about the injury. So it was what year was it? It was October 2014. Okay. And it was a really rainy day. Now, I don't remember anything about the day. The last memory I have is the Sunday, and this happened on the Wednesday. But it was a really rainy day, and I'd been at this man's house who I used to kind of do a bit of home help for. Yeah. And I was at his house, and I'd left my cats to be neutered in Arklow, and then I was driving to his house, And then it was on the way back from his house to get the cats that I actually had to crash, and I went in the path of an articulated lorry.
Wow.
So I think I'd been cut out of the car, but I think I was kind of seemed coherent enough, like, you know.
You were conscious?
Yeah, I was fairly conscious. So they brought me to Vincent's, and then when I got to Vincent's, apparently my stats dropped, or I don't know what way they monitor, but it wasn't good. So I was transferred to Beaumont, and then I was put in an induced coma for a little over 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then when I was taken out of that, then I was now I don't remember any of this.
No,
nothing.
It's just it's in your report. I've read it.
Yeah. So apparently, like, people were coming to visit me and stuff. Like, now they'd only let in my parents, my kids, Alan, my best friend, and my pastors at the time.
Okay.
And apparently I didn't really recognise anybody.
Okay.
Like, I didn't, but I just kept on saying over and over again, oh my God, did you hear I was in a car accident? Oh, my car's gone. It's a write-off.
Okay, straight off, then there was a short-term memory problem.
And I just kept on saying that over and over and over again. That was all I'd really say.
Very good.
But apparently, like, my daughter used to get very upset because I never really used to make eye contact with her, and there was no recognition in my face.
Okay, yeah.
But my friend came in with a Star Bar one day and dangled it in front of me.
Chocolate.
And I was like panting, looking at it, like, and then she got upset and she was like, she recognises the bleeding Star Bar, but she doesn't recognise me.
Wow, that must have been difficult. Was that difficult for you, or do you have any recollection of it?
I don't know, like,
right.
Now I know my daughter was very different with me when I come home. Like, she used to let me away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She used to tell me she loved me all the time before I'd go to sleep. And if I ever went out anywhere, she'd be like, love you. So it obviously did affect her in some way. Like,
Of course.
And I think, now I've never said it to her, but somebody else has told me that me and her were in a fight at the time of me having my accident, which in a way it's a godsend, because she was off school sick, and normally I'd have made her come to work with me.
Right.
But the fact that we were fighting, I didn't bring her.
Wow.
And if she'd have been in the car with me, like, you know what I mean? It could have been so different. So, but that obviously affected her as well, that she didn't want to be fighting with me.
Of course.
So, yeah, that was... and then I was transferred to Vincent's.
At what point did you recognise, or did you realise, whoa, hold on, I've got a brain injury here? When did you get insight into that?
I'm not sure if it was when I was in Beaumont. I think it might have been when I was in Beaumont. I remember waking up and being kind of locked in.
Okay.
Couldn't communicate with anybody, but knew everything that was going on around me. But everything was in little drips and drabs. Like, nothing was kind of... I still, to this day, don't really have a concept of time. Like, I can manage hours, even days. But weeks or months, no. I've no idea.
Right.
Like, I really don't. Like, literally, you could tell me it's summer, and I'd say, God, it's very cold. Like, that's how...
Well, that's Irish weather for
you. But that's how confused I am about months.
Me too.
Like,
me too.
Like, the time just flies... I know as you get older, the time flies by anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, it really, really does. So, I don't know when I kind of realised that... Like, I know that I thought I'd had a massive stroke, because I had 2 TIAs, which are like trans ischemic attacks, like they're like kind of mini strokes.
Mini strokes, right?
So I'd had them 10 years previous, and I thought, oh, I'm not having a massive stroke. Oh Jesus, I'm stuck like this. God, no, because at the time I was big into not even religion, but like Christianity.
Yeah, you touched on your pastures earlier.
Yeah, I was going to church. I was born again Christian, and I was baptised in the sea and all that jazz.
Right.
And I was big into, spiritual guidance.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, why did you... Like, I'd rather be dead. Why did you save me?
Right.
And I swear to God, he said, because it wasn't your time.
Right.
I had plans for you. And I really believed that. So then I was coherent enough for people to be saying, no, you've been in a car accident. And so that's when I started off with do you know I was in a car accident?
Okay, yeah.
I was telling everybody then. It was like I just clung on to that.
Of course.
And I was probably so relieved that I didn't have a stroke, that I was just like, I was in a car accident, my car's gone. I just kept repeating that over and over again. No, I don't remember that, but I told everybody.
Yeah.
100 times a visit. So I don't remember much about being in Beaumont. But do you know what's really funny, actually? I went back about a year later for a checkup in Beaumont.
Yeah.
And even though I don't remember being in Beaumont, the first clear memory that I have of Beaumont is leaving Beaumont in the ambulance to go to Vincent's.
Yeah.
And I thought that me and your man, the driver, were like, get away, we'd robbed somewhere. And I was like
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought we were.
Yeah.
So I thought that I'd no recollection of that, but I went back a year later for it to check up with the neurosurgeon, and I was sitting in the waiting room and I could hear this voice, and I was like, I know that voice. And as soon as she walked by, I recognised her, and I was like, oh my God, I recognise her.
Yeah.
I knew. So I knew somebody.
Yeah.
That brings me to another strange coincidence.
Go on.
One day I was, I hadn't seen your man that I used to do the cleaning for.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen him in a long time. So it was about maybe a good year and a half later anyway. And I was down in Arklow one day and I says, do you know what, I think I'll go to see David. I haven't seen him in a long time, like. So I said, I put into me sat-nav his address, and I just followed, because as far as I knew, I'd never been on that road.
Yeah.
Now, I knew that I must have been, because that's the way I must have travelled before. But I didn't know, like, what the directions were or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was driving along anyway, and just when I came to this part, I just started convulsing. My whole body started shaking.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I wonder is this where, like, this is really strange what's happening to me.
Yeah.
So I pulled into the garage and I went in, and I was white as a ghost. And your woman that was serving me, because I went in to get a coffee, and your woman that was serving me, she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not actually. Hopefully that this coffee will sort me out. I said, I'm actually shaking. And she said, I can see. And I said, what road? What's that road I've just come on, like? And she said, that's the Vale Road. And I said, oh my God, I don't believe it. I said, I swear to God, just back there. And I was that overwhelmed. I actually dragged her out of the shop and I pointed and I said, just back there. I went into a fit of kind of shakes. And I said, I was in a car accident there about a year or so ago. And she said to me, I said, my name's Karen Gettigan. And she said, oh my God, yeah, I remember. That's exactly where you crashed. Well, wow. I'm not joking you, Matt. I had to drink the coffee and I had to sit there for about half an hour before I could get back in the car. I was shaking that much. It's like my body knew.
Yeah, no, it's like exactly. This is a light bulb moment. Like subconsciously, you are picking up signals, trees there, landmarks here, and your mind subconsciously detected that this is where you had your accident.
I know,
and then
mad.
there was a stress response.
Absolutely mad.
It's amazing, isn't it? That you weren't even thinking of that, but the mind was able to pick up these cues. Absolutely fascinating. Come here, just talk to me about like the injury, and you were in Beaumont, Vincent's. How had life changed for you then? Like,
well, I was a real like chatterbox. I know you wouldn't think it to look at me now. No, I'm getting there. But I couldn't find words.
Right.
So I found it very difficult I used to say the wrong words for...
Did you have aphasia?
Nobody ever really mentioned aphasia to me, so it must have been very, very slight.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It must have been something that they knew they could work on.
So probably just a word finding difficulty you had rather than it. Did you comprehend? Did you understand?
Yeah, I did. And I used
to the dog. Or...
I was saying, I used to say, and I still to this day say hotel instead of hospital.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
I get the two of them mixed up all the time. And then other words like I can't even think now, but I'd say the wrong words for something. But what everybody used to do to me is like my husband used to say to me, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, give us a clue, go on, give us a clue. And it would be like me playing charades with the family. So I'd be like, you know, it's in the kitchen. You do something in it, you put something in it and it makes it into something else. And he'd be like, a cooker. And no, and I'd be like, and you put butter on it, and he'd be like, a toaster, and we'd be like, yay!
Brilliant.
So that was a game that we used to play for about a year. No, I still do it now when I get really, really tired. Apparently I done it the other night to my daughter, and apparently she just like, Mum, don't get angry with me. I'm not a mind reader, because I'd be like, that thing over there, you know what I mean? And she's like, what is it, Mum? Find your words. She just say that to me, and I feel like such a child when she says that. So that was my problem, kind of apart from the main one, which was the anger.
Right. So talk to me about that. Were you angry before, Did you have anger issues before you the injury?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you would always blow
Yeah,
up.
I would. I was very highly strung, let's just call it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I do blame everything on the brain injury. It's very easy to blame everything on the brain injury.
Right.
But everybody says to me, Karen, you were like that before.
Right.
So it's only when people are saying that to me, like, you were always like that. You were like that before, that I'd be thinking, was I really? God, I must have been a horrible bitch. Because I did for the first, like, I don't know how my husband married me, because he married me at my worst.
Right.
Like, I was horrible for the first, I'd say, year and a half.
Give us an example.
Absolutely
Like what?
horrible. Oh, I was just a thundering bitch.
Right.
Like, really, I was so aggressive and so short-tempered. Like, I had no tolerance. My levels for tolerance were just at zero.
I like seeing that when you started on the programme here. You could see that. You know, and that was great for me. Not great for you, but it was great that I could witness it. And a lot of people don't present like that in here. They save it for home, the family.
Oh, God,
where you come in guns blazing, shooting people down.
I'm an open book, that's one thing I'll tell you.
Yeah, and that's very good. It's easy for us to work with them.
Yeah.
As far as your family and the anger, you were talking to me about a birthday party a year ago.
Oh God,
Tell me
yeah. Oh
about
Jesus.
that.
And Lucy actually said that this year. She said, like, Ma'am, now will you tell us exactly what you want, because I don't want another repeat of your birthday.
What happened last year again? Remind me.
Okay, so first of all, my husband got me a lovely bunch of flowers, and I was like, yeah, they're grand, but sure, I would have preferred, because we have a beautiful garden.
Right.
And he always, God love him, he always brings me in a bunch of flowers, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they're lovely, but sure, I would have preferred a bunch out of the garden. And he was just like, okay. And then my daughter got me a hairdryer, and I opened it and I was like, is this a fucking joke? And she was like, why? And I said, why would anybody need 2 hair dryers? I have a hairdryer, it's perfect. And Alan says, it's not perfect, Karen. The plug is broke, it has to be plugged in at all times. And I was like, yeah, so I always know where it is. That's grand, like. And he's like, it's not grand, it's a danger. And I was like, look, it's not a danger, it's fine. So I kind of caused a bit of a fuss, and everybody was getting upset with me, and I was getting very upset, and I was like, you've ruined my fucking birthday now. And I was just, you know.
So your social filter was just...
Oh God, my filter was completely gone. I would say whatever I was thinking would just come out.
But you were a strong person before your accident, but you had a little more so emotional intelligence back then, let's say.
Totally. And I'd know what's socially acceptable to say and what's not. Whereas now it was just like, I'd just say whatever I thought.
Yeah, and I've seen that in sessions here where you just blurt out, you know, and... empathy wasn't one of your strong points when you started, and that's something that you're quite aware of that as well, though, weren't you?
Oh God, yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose the fact that I couldn't cry or feel, I couldn't really feel anything. So how could I have empathy when I couldn't have feelings?
Yeah.
So I was like, all I felt was anger, but I'd know if something was sad.
Yeah.
Or like...
You just knew it, but you didn't feel it.
No, like I've been to funerals, like I
Yeah.
think 3 funerals since I've had my accident, 3 or 4 funerals. And like everybody's around me and they're crying, and I'm sitting there and like, I know I should be sad, but sure, oh well, he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
Did
not
you find
a nice
that difficult?
Oh God, yeah. It makes you feel crap about yourself.
Yeah.
So, and everything was kind of replaced with anger. Like I'd feel like angry because I couldn't feel anything else.
Right. It was the only emotion you could have.
Yeah, and that was really annoying. That was really difficult, like, especially for my youngest daughter. I used to give her an awful time. Like, I used to bully her something terrible. That's probably my biggest regret. It's not my biggest regret, but it's my biggest worry, is that in years to come that she's going to be affected by that.
Yeah. Now, we had that meeting, the meeting that we had, and we brought the family conference in, and I thought your daughters were unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they have great insight, like.
But they gave a feedback for such a maturity. They were able to give constructive feedback, positive feedback, and a great blend. They didn't have a go at you. They didn't use opportunity. They spot your strengths. They were able to give you. I think it's amazing, and I think if they hold on to that going forward.
Like even Lucy, like I remember one time, I had this Tiffany lamp that I'd bought before I think Jude was just a baby, and it was a lot of money back in the day. It was like £80 or £60, or it was something for the house. that I'd spent a lot of money on.
Yeah.
Which wasn't, at 19 years of age, 20 years of age, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Not with the lifestyle that I had. There's
Yeah.
always better things to be spending your money on. But I was like, I loved this. So I've had that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I think Lucy ended up breaking it.
Right.
Well, I'm not joking you, Matt, when I say I was frothing at the mouth, I was literally... Now, I've always made it a rule to never slap my children.
Right.
Even as children, I never slapped them because I would be afraid I'd lose control.
Okay.
I always knew I had a problem with control in things like that. So I never would ever slap them. But I came close this one day. I was so angry and I called her every name under the sun.
Wow.
And I was telling her that she was the most selfish, horrible person in the world. I was absolutely... Like, it's the biggest shame that I have.
Okay.
And do you know what she was saying to me in the middle of this?
What?
Stop, ma'am. Stop. You don't mean this. This isn't you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, I do mean it. I do mean it. And she was like, you're going to be sorry about this. Think about what you're saying. You're going to be sorry about this later.
How old was she at the time?
What's she now? 16. So she would have been probably 14.
Wow.
And I was like, I just didn't see outside of what I...
Yeah,
like,
of course.
The
blinkers were on. You
red
were in
mist.
Yeah,
that's what
rage.
it is. And she like had so much patience with me that's what she was saying.
Yeah, I could see that at the meeting. It was brilliant.
Yeah, but it's funny because she was always my favourite person in the world. Right. She came before anybody. If you're asked a question, what would you bring to a desert island with you?
Yeah.
And people could say like, now you'd say, oh, my phone, or this, or that.
Okay, yeah.
No, mine was always Lucy.
Right.
Lucy. We could talk about anything. We'd have a laugh together. She was just my absolute soul.
Yeah.
And during the time that I was in hospital, she'd got her periods. She'd got her first boyfriend. She was grown up a bit.
Wow.
She was different to when I went in. But I was different.
Yeah, of course.
As well.
Yeah.
And it was just a clash of personalities. We just couldn't get on. I didn't like her. And I found that the most difficult thing. Like, she went from my favourite person to my least favourite person in the space of a couple of months of me being in hospital.
So that was really difficult.
It was horrible. It was very, very upsetting. And of course, I'd want to cry about it, but I couldn't. So I'd get more angry about it. It was just a vicious circle, like. There was one job she had to do, and that was to empty the dishwasher, and she wouldn't do it. Now, it took me a long time, like a year's therapy, to realise she's just a teenager.
Yeah.
That's all, like,
Jesus.
But I'd be like, it's one thing I'm asking you to do, one thing. It'd take you 10 minutes out of your whole day.
Wow.
Why do you get me like this? Why do you? And I'd be frothing at them out, and I would be like a mad woman.
Right.
But I didn't think I was doing well here in the RTU. I thought it was a waste of time.
So just pull it back for a sec. I want to ask you, when you talk about the empathy and the crying and all, when did you see that breakthrough?
Well, the first time I cried was, oh God, maybe a year or so after. I was actually coming up to the NRH for a check-up with Dr. McGilligan.
Yeah.
And so it must have been, I don't know when it was, but my dad had to bring me anyway.
Yeah.
So it was when I found out I couldn't drive anymore.
Okay.
And my dad isn't the best of drivers, let's just say. And he was going into another lane or whatever, and a car started beeping at him and like making all these faces out the window and everything. And I just burst into tears.
Wow.
And I was like, and he was like, and I was like, look what you're doing to me. Why are you driving like that? Do you have any idea that I was nearly killed out of a car accident?
Right.
Please drive more carefully. Like, and I was it was like my body, it was just a reaction because I couldn't cry about anything else.
Right.
But that was like, even though I have no recollection of the car crash, it was like my body just reacted.
Yeah, again, it's what we said about the subliminal messages.
So that was the first time I actually cried. And then I think after that, I don't really remember crying much really at all for any reason. But I was with Suvi here one day, and we were talking about
the counsellor.
Yeah, and we were talking about how my relationships with people have changed, and that's something that I find very difficult because out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when we first met, you used to say to me, if I don't see you, I don't care about you.
Yeah, so, and I would have been extremely close to my best friend who lives in Cork. Like, extremely close. And say with my sister who lives in England, love the bones of her, and her children.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to ring them all the time.
Right.
And I used to text my friend all the time. I would literally have to put reminders on my phone to actually keep in contact with them, because I will never think of them.
Right.
And that bothered me a lot.
But that's a memory thing.
Yeah, it is a memory thing, but you should feel like you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just don't think to, you know, it's, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
So that was really something that I was affected by, and it was when I was talking, like, I've never vocalised it.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it much, other than to set the alarm on my phone, and then when it goes off, I'll text them.
Yeah.
But actually talking about it, I started crying. I was just like,
Wow.
now a few times I have started to cry, but I get so excited that I'm going to start crying that I actually start laughing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I never kind of get there.
Yeah, okay.
So, but this day, it was like literally tears dropping without me even realising I was crying. And I was
felt
just
normal
like,
again.
Yeah, I felt, and that was a big breakthrough for me.
Yeah.
I
remember reading your story. I got you to do the My Story, and I got emotional when I read it when you says you feel your heart thawing out now.
Yeah, I feel like my heart is made of ice, and I feel like it's melting a little bit all the time.
Yeah, we can see it here in the programme. It's a huge change.
Yeah.
Huge change. Yeah, you came to the NRH, the RTU, this programme. When did you get here?
I think it was like the middle of July. It was just before my birthday, I think, maybe a week or two before my birthday. So probably the start of July. And the first few weeks or a month or so, I thought it was just like not for me.
No.
I just felt like I was way above everybody. I have a very high opinion of myself, in case you haven't realised.
I never noticed.
But I just thought, like, you know, I'm well able for this. This is a piece of piss. Like, I can do all of these things that they're trying to get me to do.
You come in like a whirlwind.
Yeah,
yes, like a storm.
And I was annoyed by a few of the trainees. Like, I just kind of find myself rolling my eyes and things like that. Yeah. All right, ma. So, and them sort of things, when I do things like that, it makes me feel bad about myself.
Right. A vicious circle.
And I don't like to feel bad about myself, because I think I'm great.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it's conflicting all the time. So I was like, this is not really doing anything for me. But then my family started to notice a difference in me. And they're like, you know, oh, well, yeah. I was tired for the first while, because when you're used to doing nothing at all, other than going out and colouring with your friends and I used to go out for coffee and colouring mornings, or like go out for coffee or whatever, then to have like a full day, 4 days a week, is a lot. So now for Mondays and Tuesdays I only come in till lunchtime. But I used to get a lift with somebody, another trainee that was here, and then he went, so I was getting the train. And I used to get the train, the 9 o'clock train, that would get here for like 20 to 11 by the time I get the next bus to come here or whatever. So by the time I'd come in, I'd be like, that's a full day's work for me, like, you know, compared to what I'm used to. So I'd just like, and then I'd come in and we're doing bloody relaxation and breathing and all this and learning with the brain and all. And I was just like, oh my God, thinking about, like, I could be lying at home watching Netflix instead of doing this. So
me too.
But then when other people start to notice the difference in you, you start to like feel better, you know, about yourself and stuff. So then before long then I was getting I started coming in earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm in most days now for 9:30. And the fact that we don't be in on the Friday, I actually would do the Friday.
Yeah,
because the weekend feels really long now, like, so like my tolerance, like my stamina has been built up loads, like, since I started. But I really feel like this was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, we seen it, like, when you got here in the programme, say you're like, people think they come here just for the brain injury rehabilitation, but it's all the stuff that you weren't aware of, the social stuff, the tolerance stuff, the fatigue, just the lifestyle management, where you were very insightful about the brain injury deficits you had, i.e. your memory, information processing. You're aware of that, but you didn't realise the social side of it. And we could see in a week or two from giving you feedback that you were changing. We were like, wow, we could see a totally different person.
Yeah.
Because you immerse yourself, you dive straight in, you dive
Oh
straight
yeah, well I
in.
did that. I said that from the very, very start. Like as soon as I came into the NRH after being at home for the 2 weeks at Christmas,
Yeah.
I said I don't want any visitors. I want to be in here full time, working my ass off. I'll come home at the weekends, but don't want.
That's when you were in the inpatients in
when
the
I was
main
in
hospital.
inpatient
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
NRH,
yeah.
and I just made it my life's work to get better.
Yeah, yeah.
To improve as much as possible, and I've done that since the start, and I do think that that's held
Yeah, absolutely. People that have a strong work ethic generally do well after having a brain injury. People that have always had it easy in school and were really bright and didn't have to put in the work, they do struggle because they don't have that ingrained in them, the work ethic. They don't know how to get down and dirty and knuckle up and do the strategies, turn up early, put in the graft, where you had those skill sets.
Yeah.
And that's where you found it easy to transition then. I think you've made huge success due to your personality. So as far as your program here, how is it working out for you?
I love it.
Do you?
I absolutely love it. I really do, because I know I can feel I'm getting improving every single day.
Yeah.
I actually.
It's not just
love
people
it.
telling you it's going well. If it's
I
going
can
well.
feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my tolerance levels for everything has improved so much.
Right.
I never had great patience with somebody. If anybody done anything on me, they'd be dead to me. And that was one of my favourite
I remember
sayings.
you told me that when we
You're
first
dead
had
to
our
me.
first caseworker meeting.
I say that to people now as a joke. If they do
Yeah.
something to annoy me, I'd say, "Oh, you're dead to me," because it's a running joke. Because
Right.
I have done that to people.
Yeah.
I've cut them out of my life if they don't conform to my idea of what they should be. And you just can't do that in real life. I realise now you just can't do that.
Yeah,
You you have to take people as they are.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wish all people would think like that. Do you think your quality of life has improved? Your options have improved. Your outcome or your sight on life, has that improved? Has it broadened?
100%. I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people alive. I
Wow.
genuinely do feel like I am so unbelievably lucky.
Just that you say lucky. Talk to me about your job in the curry shop, as in lucky. The guy that gave you the job, why has he working there?
Because he thinks I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently, because he's Chinese, and apparently in China, if you survive a near-death experience, you're forever lucky.
Right.
So, I think that's all he really keeps me on for, because he's cutting the hours down all the time. But he's
So
just
you're his
not
lucky
letting me go.
charm?
I think I'm his lucky charm.
Yeah. So it's not fortune cookies anymore. It's Karen.
But they've been very good to me.
Yeah.
They have been very good to me. So yeah, he used to have to come out and apologise for me and everything, because I'd be as rude to the customers. If there was customers waiting on their order, they'd order their food and I took their order, and then I was on the phone taking another order. And if they were talking amongst themselves, I'd put the hand over the phone. I'd be like, "Would you mind being quiet? I can't hear on the phone." And he'd be coming out and he'd be like, "Sorry." Or somebody would ring and they'd say they'd want the meal deal, and they'd say, "Can I get ribs for the starter?" And I'd say, "Ribs aren't on the starter." And they'd say, "Oh right, well what is?" And I'd say, "Have you a menu?" And this is the way I speak to them, and they'd say, "No, sorry." And I'd say, "Oh my God, well there's 14 things. Do I have to name them all out to you?"
No way.
Yeah, I was and now I know I would never do that. Jeez, that is the height of ignorance,
Right.
But that's why I used to speak to people.
Yeah, your tolerance.
My
level.
husband used to say to me all the time, "You need to learn how to speak to people." That was his biggest thing. You need to learn how to speak to people.
Well, it's the brain injury, it's the tolerance, it's to learn to do that again, and I think you've mastered that brilliant. I've seen you in sessions and on your involvement in the program. It's just changed completely. You're a different person.
Yeah, no, I am. I feel like I am, definitely.
You were talking earlier about the anger and the anger management. You're involved in a project now. What's that with the students?
Oh, the IADT is it called? It's they're doing an animation for the different stages of brain injury. So a couple of other people are doing it, and I think they're doing it for cognitive or something, and
some are doing it for fatigue.
Fatigue, yeah.
There's anger management. Anger, you're doing the anger. It's a
Of
cartoon.
course, I'm doing the anger. Talk about being typecast.
Yeah, typecast. Yeah, there's a few different ones that are making an animation, and you be the voiceover. Yeah, that's amazing.
So that was exciting. It's good. I like to be involved in anything because, like as you say, when I woke up from the coma and I was like, God, why did you save me? Because I thought I was going to be stuck like this. I thought I was going to be like, somebody with locked-in syndrome or something. And he said, I swear, he said to me, because I have plans for you.
Right.
And I don't know if it was a dream, because it was very hard in them days to figure out what was real and what was a dream. You felt like you were in a dream the whole time. So I thought to myself, I need to do something with people in brain injury.
Right.
I need to help people understand brain injury.
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking about, will I do something in occupational therapy, or will I do something in that? But to be honest with you, Matt, I don't know if that's for me.
Right.
I think I just want to do a job that doesn't take up much. I've come so far with my family now. Yeah. And that's what's important to me. Amazing.
You weren't talking like that when we first met.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you recognise that again. And that's the part.
And that's, I just want a job that I get a few pound out of every week. And
quality of life.
A quality of life. Like, I don't want to be stressing out, learning a new career and helping people if it's going to be detrimental to me, you know?
Family.
So I'll do every little thing that I can do, be it this or be it the voiceover for IADT or whatever.
I just think you're a great advocate for brain injury. You're always open to talk about it. You're always willing to get involved. People think they need to go above and beyond what they do. Even doing this, sharing your story, doing the brain works, helping around the unit with other people. That's loads. And again, you're a great advocate for someone that's had a brain injury, because you don't hide away from it. You tell your story. You're proud of who you are and what has happened to you.
Yeah.
So what's the future? What's the plan?
Well, as you say, it's changed from when I first came here.
Yeah,
I just thought, when I first came here, I was like, okay, well, I can't wait to start my occupational therapy, kind of my work experience there, and I was focused on doing that. And now I just want to. Everything has changed for me personally in like my relationships and the thawing of the heart. That for me was such a big thing that, it doesn't matter. I just want to go out and do little jobs, and, I'd be happy working in McDonald's.
Yeah, I sitting here smiling. I think it's lovely, and I think it's the small things in life. Your heart thawing out, your family stuff, all the good stuff, not the college, not the work.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that it's a neon sign, which is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, as soon as I actually made the decision, which was only a few days ago, I made the decision, okay, it was the day we went to the open day up at the college thing.
The best practice day.
Yeah, and I was just like, this isn't for me. I just want to get a job and that I can go home in the evening. I'm not completely exhausted. I'm not thinking about other people's problems. And I can just be at home with my family and be happy. And as soon as I realised that and accepted that, it was like a weight was gone off my shoulders.
Wow.
I just felt so much better, and I was just happy with my decision.
Light bulb moments, as you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Look, I've took up loads of time. That was an amazing chat. I love it. Do you know what I mean? The transformation, the change, the traumatic brain injury you had, the traumatic event that you have, and then now you're nearly coming up to 7 or 8 months with us here, and your life has changed, your insight has changed, you as a person, you feel, has changed, and I just find that fascinating. What do you think?
I'm very fascinating.
You're very fascinating, and you're modest. Look, thanks very much for joining Magic Minds. You're a star. I love it.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so that's all we have time for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that story as much as I did. Karen is an amazing human being. She shared with us her story from before and after injury, and it's a powerful story, and she tells it so well. She's very honest and open and genuine, and that comes across. It's not easy for somebody to sit down and do an interview with somebody, but on top of that then have a significant brain injury, and she's done remarkably well, all through her own hard work and her determination. Karen does a lot of work on herself, not only while she's on the programme in the RTU, but at home in her own free time she works hard on herself, and she does a lot of research and reading and books and self-development. She's very honest and open about that. So it was an absolute privilege to share that story with her. Hopefully you got some inspiration and motivation from it. And it's a little bit funny at times, and she's a great character. It was a pleasure to do the interview with her. You know, it was my first interview actually ever for the show. Just recorded on my little Zoom, but the quality came out great. We just sat down, we chatted, and there was very little editing it. She told the truth. There was nothing to change. She was comfortable with the interview, and it came across really well. And hopefully you guys will get an insight. You know, if you have a family member that has suffered a brain injury, or you know somebody, hopefully it might be helpful to you. So yeah, a big thanks to Karen, and you know, she's a shining light for brain injury patients, and she's a great advocate, you know, and I'm delighted to have spent that time with her. As always, I'd like to thank Niall Riley from Rooney Media. So if you guys need any graphic design, and check those guys out. He's absolutely amazing. I'm really grateful for his help on the podcast. Again, also I'd like to thank Carolyn Harvey from ISA Nutrition. So if you need any support around your nutrition, or you've got any ailments, or you want to lose some weight, or put on some muscle, or maintain a healthy lifestyle, check those guys out on Facebook. Well, our website is in the making. I don't think it's up yet, but you can get her on Facebook, ISA Nutrition. Carolyn Harvey, check her out. She's an absolute gem of a person. So that's all we have time for. As always, I'll ask you, please share this with a family member or a friend. Subscribe on iTunes. We're also on Anchor FM, and we're on Podbean, SoundCloud. So also on iTunes, please leave a delicious review. I need your reviews. I need your ratings to get this show out. I want to get the stories out there. But if we can raise the profile of the show, you know, we'll get more listeners and it'll grow momentum. So, and that's all we want to do, is to spread the story and inspire and motivate people and create an education for everyone. And I'm learning loads from this, and I'm getting the opportunity to spend time with some amazing people, and hopefully I can keep doing that and I can bring that to you guys. So wherever you are in the world, look after yourself. Go check on a family member, go check on a friend, make sure they're alright, and you mind yourself. As always, have a great day. Cheers, bye-bye. 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 Great day.